Hi folks, Lana here. Who else would it be? And I had an unexpectedly rough day today. Yeah, I don't know if my hypothesis is that when you choose to live your life more open-heartedly and be vulnerable and be honest and be a person that shares about what they're going through and what they have gone through, inevitably when you have deep and meaningful conversations and connections with people, you might end up sharing things that, or talking about things that brings things up for you and causes you to reflect, or maybe triggers an old wound. And I had one of those moments today, and where, I did everything that I wanted to do today, work-wise, and that is a pride point. Like, okay, we were tired this morning, we really snapped ourselves into focus, we did what we needed to do, and then I had a moment of vulnerability with a friend, and it brought things up for me. And I was really emotional after, and I had like a good cry in my office. And it was just, there was a lot of things that I was trying to unpack, and I'm going to try and unpack them for you here. Because I feel like, I don't know, this is part of the journey, and maybe other people feel the same way, or this could help someone else. But I think what I felt, so okay, just to set the scene, I was having a conversation with a friend, and I ended up mentioning a few things about my childhood and kind of like family trauma stuff. And afterwards, I was feeling off, and I think I was feeling raw, like an open wound, and started kind of doubting myself, and I was like, oh shit, like, I was feeling emotionally activated, and I can only imagine how that could have felt for the person receiving and holding space for what I shared. And I was like, oh gosh, Lana, like, are you doing that thing again where you share a lot? And sometimes that's a great thing, and it's a wonderful aspect of myself, and how I so readily am willing to connect with people like that. But also, not everyone wants that. Not everyone asks for that. And sometimes I think I do that as a way of bonding with people, and sometimes I feel like I need to like monitor myself more in the way that I do it, to protect myself and my feelings. But anyway, I was doubting myself and feeling like, okay, gosh, maybe I overshared. And so I think that was part of it, but I think the other part of it was, was your weirdness and your darkness, the parts of you that you feel like aren't as easily loved and appreciated, showing. Like, oh fuck, like, I wasn't checking myself and filtering myself and monitoring myself, and whoops, like, the cracks are showing, and the sadness and the grief and the pain felt like this entity that had oozed out of my pores and become visible to this other person, and that felt really uncomfortable. And I know I talk about vulnerability a lot, and I am really honest, and most of the time it's not a problem, but I had, I guess, a moment where I was like, shit, like, I feel very vulnerable, and doubtful and worried and scared and ashamed for these things about me and parts of me, and and I think that's sort of a new chip on my shoulder, maybe, in that I know that I've had a few recent instances where I felt like I was being loved and appreciated, or not even loved, but I don't know, appreciated for the nice shiny parts of Lana and not the depth of all that Lana is. And so I think that played into how I was feeling, and like, oh fuck, like, you know that not everyone wants that part of you, not everyone wants to know all the things. So like, let's reel it in. And then I think there's just the parts of me where I had spoken about some things that I don't really talk about all the time, and you know, drew a sort of sympathetic response, and I was like, ugh, like, I don't want to be something to be pitied, and like, I don't know, everyone has issues with their family, but I just felt like, oh man, do these things make me weird? Am I weird for being such a sharer? And it was all this like insecurity, self-doubt, fear of being judged, pain, and yeah, I've been digesting a lot related to my family, and yeah, and that just kind of brought it all up again, and brought a lot up, and I was feeling sad, and I was feeling like, oh god, all these things I forgot that I'm still holding. And I guess really the message that I'm getting right now, and that I feel like I need to tell myself and remind myself, is that this is just a reminder that grief and the process of healing from grief and grieving is not a linear process, and that things you feel like that happened decades ago, that you don't think about that often or don't impact your day-to-day life, they can come up in the most random moments and hit you in a completely new way, and the breath will be knocked out of you, and you will question why this is bringing so much up, why you were feeling so emotionally activated. Shouldn't I be over this already? Like, have I not, you know, been there, done that, shut the door on that box and on that thing? And it's okay, it's so normal. And if you are someone that is working on themselves and is someone that tries to process their shit, it's gonna be a journey, and be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. We need to be gentler with ourselves sometimes. It's so much easier to extend the hand out to somebody else, I find. And I just want you to offer a little more grace to yourself. And the things that you might think are little, the things that you might think aren't even your burdens and traumas to bear, they might still affect you. And it's okay. It's whatever you're feeling. That's the reality. You can tell yourself that, oh, I don't have it that bad. You can tell yourself, oh, this wasn't really something I went through. I was just there. I was just whatever. Or, I don't know. I wasn't raped, but I was sexually assaulted. Like, however way you want to justify and minimize and whatever. How you're feeling is the reality. And so pay attention to how you are feeling, how you're being affected, and how you're feeling in your body. And that's the reality you have to pay attention to and address, and don't turn your cheek away from it, because you are then denying yourself and your experience. And you have you in this life, you know, and yeah, be there for yourself, like the friend you are to others. Anyway, this is the pep talk that I needed, and I'm gonna go cry more on my drive because I just feel like I need that. That little Lana she's there, and she's saying there's a lot we've been holding. There's a lot we've been holding, and it's not even all new. It's just something we gotta cry about for a second and be sad and grieve our reality. So yeah, thanks for listening. I hope wherever you are, if you're having a rough day, that you know you can just hold on to the fact that tomorrow is a new day. And you're so strong, and you're so brave for letting yourself feel the feelings. It can feel so much easier to numb and to shut off, to avoid pain. We do it all the time. So, although you may feel uncomfortable, shitty, you are so fucking brave for being here and doing life in this way. And yeah, you got this. You got this. Yeah. Alright, guys. Love you lots. See you in the next one. Bye.